It is 12 p.m. for our early. Everybody, thanks for joining us. Before we get started, if you would join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. First item on today's agenda is the consent agenda.
I move we approve the consent agenda.
We have a motion in a couple of seconds. Very good. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. First item on our regular agenda is to consider a resolution authorizing bonds for HVAC replacement, Fire Station 2, NRC and City Hall. Ed?
Thank you, Commission. A little history. The buildings at City Hall, Fire Station 2, and Newton Rec Center, all three of these locations are experiencing HVAC issues to one degree or another, with the rec center probably being the worst. We feel like we're not sure we'll make it through the winter with heating tubes and things like that going on with that unit at the rec center. The typical lifespan of these units are 15 to 20 years, and at all these locations, the units we currently have were built in 2003, making them 20 plus years old. So we've done a really good job of maintaining them, but we've kind of got to that point where they need some attention and some replacement. This past budget season, just to remind you that we did create a building maintenance replacement plan, a MER, for these things that we hadn't had in the past. So moving forward, we can put dollars aside each year to be able to pay cash for this at the end of that lifespan. But because of where we're at today and the shape that everything's in, we need to replace these in order to pay for that. Our debt policy allows us to issue debt via bond through the provision of including useful life to be equal to or exceed the term of financing. So with that being said, we will put this out for a competitive bidding process, which we've used in the past. The total for all this replacement is $1,630,825. That would be bonded, and then the payments would come from the infrastructure and economic development sales tax. And I can break this down per location if that's helpful, but that's the total is $1.6 million. So I'm asking you to consider a resolution for approval to move forward with this project.
Maybe I just don't see it, but what's the annual payments going to be on that?
Can you help me with that, Janetta?
I don't have any estimated debt payments or scheduled at this point in time.
And we're going to amortize it over how many years? 20?
20.
That's our normal.
And I have a question on that infrastructure, economic development. I know that's, correct me if I'm wrong, someone, it's part of that, it's that second sales tax, and it was 50% general, and then 25-25 for infrastructure, economic development. But has that been broken down between infrastructure and economic development so that, I think we mentioned this at some, you remember? I think we mentioned this at some point back, breaking that infrastructure and economic development down into their respective 25% buckets.
It does. I
think
recall
we-
that conversation. I don't know where it was, but that's something we can do going forward. I don't even know that Jonetta is quite there yet.
Well, I'm not, I don't mean to throw that ball at you with, I just want to mention that.
Yeah.
I know we had that conversation. I don't recall where, but it seemed like it was here, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, what we can do is, as the year wraps up, early next year, as part of the, financial update, we can include a conversation about the sales tax funds and the breakdowns.
Okay.
That'd be perfect time.
And then if you could figure out what that annual payment, it's going to be somewhere between 85 and 100,000 a year, but I think it'd be good for us to know that specific number.
Yeah.
And I know it's going to depend on the interest rate and who bids what, but at least we can get close.
Well, thanks for the opportunity to speak. Either last week or 2 weeks ago, I can't remember, the time flies when you're having fun. But I had my first initial conversation with Gilmore and Bell, Bond Counsel, Garth and Jonna, and they educated me basically on the history that the city of Newton has undertaken with their debt issuance. And typically, unless absolutely needed, most of our bond issues are a consolidation of projects. So I would just preface by saying this will not be a standalone bond issue, and that's why it didn't come prepared with any sort of debt schedule. So it will depend on a lot of factors: timing of when we issue the bonds, the size of the bonds, and the interest rate at that point in time. If the commission so chooses for me to get a debt schedule just based off of this one, I can, but it would be a real rough estimate.
Yeah,
Well,
it really doesn't make sense. Let's wait till everything, other things accumulate.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, I don't know. If we're going to pay it out of a fund that we have, we need to kind of know what we have coming into it, and then at least this slice that would be coming out of it, not necessarily in aggregate, because then it just kind of gets mixed in with everything else. I mean, I think I'm not expecting you to go to bond counsel to get a amortization for just this project, but we should be able to put a pencil to it to know an estimate of what that outgoing from this fund would be.
Okay.
I think I'd probably feel more comfortable having that before we go forward on this. Is this an urgent situation where we need to lock this up before a certain time?
I mean, it's a waiting game with NRC. We don't know how long it's going to last. I'm being honest.
I mean, can we have 2 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, certainly if it goes, we'll have to pivot, but
We'd have to pivot anyway.
correct.
So if you break that down, you probably are breaking it down, so it won't really be infrastructure / EDC. It won't be infrastructure if you break that down. Does that make sense? Because I don't think I think when we talked about this, it's kind of been all together.
You don't have a,
You're correct. The
you don't have an
spread-
account, a account just for
Infrastructure.
half of the sales tax going to infrastructure and half going to EcoDevo. It goes into a pot, and as long as it's falling under one of those two categories, it's authorized to be.
That's correct.
It's not a restricted account with a balance for EcoDevo and a
it's a-
restricted account with a balance for
It's actually a
infrastructure.
capital reserve account, which is by statute not required to be budgeted. It's a department within our capital reserve, of which there are many departments within, but the monies are completely segregated within that department. If the commission so chooses to break that out into two different departments, I'll have to look at statutes and budgets and all. I think that was a sales tax question
Yeah, that is a
even.
sales
I'd
tax
have to.
question. And when we
So-
originally talked about that, I know we looked into it. So if you give us a couple weeks, we could talk to Donna and asked if we have that breakdown, because I believe it exists somewhere.
Like on a side spreadsheet
Yes.
or something.
Yeah, so we have both breakdowns, and what you're asking is for how this bond payment fits into that cash flow.
Right.
Is that what you're asking?
I
Okay.
want
Yeah,
to know how it cash flows out.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah, and we'll use estimates based on this bond issue and what rates are now.
Yep.
Yeah, because like the last one was 200,000 a year on 5 million or something. Is what that one was, but,
Yeah, we can absolutely do that.
all right.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Johnetta.
So,
If you're going to table this item, I'd prefer a motion that we table it until the next meeting.
I move that we table this item until our next meeting.
A second?
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. The motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item today is to consider a purchase and sale agreement with Heartland Audio Visual for property in the Newton Industrial Park. Zach?
Run up here real quick. Yeah, pretty straightforward. It's Heartland audiovisual company coming to town. They will have their commercial and warehouse operations at this location. They're looking at this 3.68 acres in the Newton Industrial Park. As you can see on the map, 15,000 an acre, that works out to about 55,200 if my math is correct. So I'll stand for any questions or clarification.
No?
What's their basic business model, just for the public to know?
They have five full-time employees right now. I'm not sure about their actual model. I just know they're kind of working remotely at this point. So now they're looking to put down some roots and actually establish a home. So they have operations in Kansas City and Wichita.
And they supply products for?
Oh,
what?
actually, I can give you a really great example. They did the audiovisual work for the new library. So, and since we've started talking to them about this, they've also, I believe, contacted the fire stations to work on their audiovisual equipment as well.
I think he joined the chamber last year or whatever and presented once as a new person.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I forget his name.
That
So-
vaguely sounds familiar.
Primarily a warehouse to fulfill equipment.
With their commercial operation in the front.
Good. I'd call for a motion.
Okay.
I motion that we approve the purchase and sale agreement with the Heartland Audio and Visual for the sale of 3.68 acres in the Newton Industrial Park.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
sir. Next item today is the Planning Commission. Chris?
Thank you, Mayor. This is an annexation request. As you're all aware, annexation is a process where certain property comes within the city limits. This is a petition annexation. This is where the property owners came to the city and asked to be included in the city. So you see your items A, B, and C. First is to receive the request for the annexation, and that would also include the approval of an ordinance that would effectuate the annexation. Then items B and C have to do with the zoning. Obviously, it was in the county, so it had a county zoning designation. Once it's annexed into the city, we would want to assign it zoning designation. This one isn't too controversial. Single-family property, staff recommendation and planning recommendation. Planning Commission recommendation is an R1, which is like single-family housing. You see up on the map, it's got our future land use map. I think there's a picture of the actual property. There it is. And then the surrounding properties, which would be R1. Oftentimes, utilities and services are at issue here. It's not. Ed's confirmed that we have mains that are close to the property, so we don't have to worry about specials to extend. City police and fire will be obviously absorbed into the city. I would stand for any questions. I think Ed could as well in terms of the utilities, but it's pretty straightforward.
I guess the one question that I had, current sewer is,
It runs on, I believe it's on I haven't a map in front of me. It should be on the west side of Kansas Avenue.
and the property is served sewer how? On a pond? or-
Right now, they currently have a septic tank, maybe is what they have currently in the county.
So what is the requirement if they are brought into the city to close cap or something so?
That's correct. They would have to do that, and then they have to buy a tap that would then connect to city sewer, same with city water. They're currently on a well. They could use their well for irrigation.
Right.
They couldn't use it. It has to be a clean separation, and then they would buy a tap, and we'd make the connection on the water side.
Okay, cool.
Besides buying the tap, are there any other fees that they are required to pay?
No, as Chris alluded to, because there's adjacent utilities already there, we don't have to extend it. So what they're buying is a private, they're serving their house, so it's a private line.
There's not going to be a lateral that other houses or whatever
No,
would be
it would
served off
only
of?
serve, yeah, it would only serve that resident.
And they were already in the admin fees for like the zoning petition. I don't think we charge for annexation. And then obviously going forward, they would be responsible for city share of property taxes.
Okay,
And this was their request.
right,
They came to us.
Yeah.
awesome.
I move that we receive the request of this annexation of property at 2903 South Kansas.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Same sign.
And I think before item B, maybe approving the ordinance number, and Denise will give you an ordinance number.
Yes, that number would be 5186-25.
And that's an ordinance doing what?
That would
That's
annex the,
annexing it into the city. That's also so that we will record this with the Register of Deeds, so it'll go on to our new properties boundary limits that you'll be seeing at the next meeting,
Okay.
included in that boundary limits.
All right, I call for a motion to approve ordinance 5186-25 for the annexation of that property located at 2903 South Kansas.
So move.
Do we have a second?
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. So now we do B.
yeah, now we would do B, which would be to receive the recommendation of the planning commission. That's right. On the zoning.
Okay. I would call for a motion to receive the recommendation of the Planning Commission regarding the zoning for this property from RS Single Family Residential to R1.
So move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. And you have an ordinance number for us, Denise?
Yes, 5187-25.
I would call for approving ordinance 5187-25 for the ordinance amending the zoning.
So move.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. All righty. Next item today is to consider the 2025 budget amendment notice for Meridian Center and to set a date and time to conduct a public hearing. Jeanette?
Good afternoon again. Well, I'm here before you to discuss the 2025 budget amendment and request the approval to put the notice of public hearing in the paper. And as it indicates in the memo, municipalities are authorized by KSA 79-2929A to amend one or more budgeted funds, the purpose of which in virtually every instance being to increase a fund's expenditure authority. So for the 2025 amended budget, I'm recommend that the Meridian Center Fund be amended. And if you'll turn to page 2, I'll kind of walk through what I'm going to discuss now. And in reviewing the 2025 Meridian Center budget, you can see that in the column that says 2025 adopted budget, that the original cash balance was $12,972. And now we're at that point in time where we're reviewing revenues and expenditures for the current year. Our beginning cash balance in this particular fund had increased to $53,641, which is additional $40,669, which gives you additional resources available in this 2025 calendar year to spend. So as a result of these additional resources available, I'm recommending that we amend the budget to spend all funds. It doesn't necessarily mean that we have to spend all funds, but it gives you the authority to do so. The financial implications, once again, we'll have an increase of that $40,669 in resources available due to the increase of that unencumbered cash balance. And the budget amendment allows you to spend those resources. So the recommendation is to approve the budget amendment for 2025 and the notice of public hearing, which is scheduled for December 9th at 7 o'clock here in City Hall. Any questions?
We've gone through this before on other, like the golf course, when they had a lot of gameplay, a lot of rounds played, their revenue went up and their expenses for labor and materials went up as well. So
Yep.
it just keeps the line items
Yep.
in line.
The good news in this case, because additional activity generates additional resources, so in order to spend the required expenditures, and that requires the budget amendment.
Okay.
So what,
I motion that we approve the budget amendment for 2025 and the notice of public hearing.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. All right, next item on today's agenda is to consider the renewal of city manager, city attorney contracts.
I will actually tee this one up for you because our HR director was able to make it. So if you don't mind bringing this one up.
Sure. All righty. So it's that time of year where we go through and we went through an assessment process where each of the commissioners had input on both the city manager's annual review as well as the city attorney's annual review. These are the only staff that the city commission has leadership authority over. We let the city manager lead the city staff. So these are set to expire at the end of the year, December 31st, and we had an executive session where we received the results of the annual reviews and assessments and feedback from both Chris and Daniela. And before us today are those two extended contracts for 1 year. The compensation amounts are in line with city staff as well. 3% merit increase and a 3% cost of living increase. And each of those were also adjusted at the executive level to reflect 3 additional weeks of vacation. That is in line with how it was done last year and is being carried over this year. I will say that as a commissioner, I rely on the expertise of both Daniela and Chris to act as my trusted advisor and give us the information that we need in both a fair and impartial way. And you guys do that with professionalism. So I'd like to say thank you for that.
Great.
As a leader of a company in Wichita and a nonprofit, I don't see any problem with the arrangements. As far as the cost of living increase and the merit increase, they are in line with industry, both what the Kansas League of Municipalities kind of outlines, as well as what we see in the commercial world and everything. I invite additional comment.
Well, I would just say too that the commission at times makes demands on Daniela and Chris and the entire staff at times, depending on what the need is. And really all of the staff, I should say that at this time, always meets those requests that we have. And so you all work very hard for the money that you earn, and we do rely on Daniela and Chris a lot for some of those things that are tough decisions, and you always meet those requests with a great willingness to provide us with the information, not just what we need, but as soon as possible. So I'm very grateful for how you help this commission make the huge decisions sometimes that we do. You're always very willing to do so, and I greatly appreciate it, and I know this commission does as a whole as well.
Yeah, leading through change has kind of been what we've been doing these last couple of years and everything, with some key personnel changes, and that takes a special talent, and Chris helping us navigate some complex eco-devo arrangements and such, so it doesn't go unnoticed.
I think it's prudent to also be said that Danielle and Chris, as Kathy mentioned, you know, we're not yes men and women up here, and that we do push back and we do ask tough questions sometimes, especially in executive session, and both of you handle that with professionalism, and you don't take it personally, and you come back with the information that is required, and then collectively we make the decision. And it seems like even though we don't always agree on specifics, we always come out of that with the overarching decision of whatever subject we're talking about. Then we go on down the road and we all accept that from each other. And so, yeah, I applaud that too, that it really tells the true character of people when the going gets tough and there's some tough questioning, there's some pushback, and when you don't fold and when you just hang right in there and you're respectful and kind, that says a lot, and I appreciate that.
I just would like to add that, you know, I appreciate Daniela's, all her efforts that she makes to build the team that she currently has now. There's been so many challenges, and she just kind of just took the reins and went with the flow, and did what she needed to do to fix things. She uses empathy and accountability, and I can totally appreciate that about her as well, and her professionalism. Chris he's very good at negotiating, and he's very good at strategizing. Whenever the commission does have questions or pushback, he goes back, he strategizes, comes back with basically what we would want to hear. So I appreciate that about him as well. So with that being said, I would like to motion that we approve their contracts.
I will second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Motion carries.
Commissioners, you will all need to sign after the meeting the waiver of right to counsel that is required for Chris's contract.
Okay. All righty. That's the next item on the agenda is the Citizens Forum. Robert Jaso. Is Robert Jaso here? No.
It's also.
Hasso? Hasso? Anyone? All right. Do we need to read the item into record, or?
You can, sure. I would just tell you that I received this request from Mr. Hasso to have the commission look at the ordinance regarding mowing, specifically the amount of time that says that he doesn't have to be notified after a second notice. And I think he wanted to have a discussion with you on that information. I think you have the ordinance that was provided as part of the packet of what he was referring to. He does know that we would not make any kind of decision at this point. I don't know if we want to have him come to another meeting. I did not hear anything from him as far as not attending. Pardon? Yes, he did.
All righty. I will say that we've had lots of discussions with regards to weeds and blight in general in our community. So I would say that I don't like to manage by exception, that I would need to really study this and not carve out a change just to serve a single situation. But I would say that I think looking at our ordinances and our policies with regard to notification, I'm wondering if maybe the first notification can actually be just a simple letter, not going out certified mail, and just like a heads up that your property has some issues and everything, and then continue down. I'd like to see maybe how we can do that and stay within state statute and all of that. I want the communication to be friendly, the Fs, friendly, firm, and formal. Let's try the friendly route first and then go down the route.
I will just say, I think his complaint is the fact that after the second notice or whatever, that at any time the property hits
Falls
that
out of
point,
compliance
falls
again.
out of compliance, the city can go in, and I think wants to dispute that a little bit about that change.
Right.
That's all I have.
And that's how I read his request, was kind of on the tail end. Once a property falls out of compliance, that ordinance doesn't require him to be re-notified in a formal manner again before it is automatically abated. That's on the tail end. I'd also like to look at this on the front end as well and look at it wholly and see what we can do. And Chris, you're going to be involved in that quite a bit. You too, Ed.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like, and Leroy may remember this, I recall the last time that we looked at this whole ordinance with regard to nuisance, weeds, all of that, was probably back before Rich came on, I'm guessing. Yeah, it was early after, it was after I was elected. It might have been the first year or two. So that's been at least 8 or 9 years ago, maybe. I think it would behoove us to look at that, because I know that I have a real hard time with things that I see, and maybe we just need to have a workshop at some point after we get past the holidays and all that, maybe into the year, where we could really look at this and see if there's any tweaking as far as some of the specifics that what is allowed and what isn't. I think it would be good, because, as you go along and you see some of the things that you see, you can't quite remember. You don't have an ordinance to pull out of your purse to say, oh, yeah, we can't do this, we can. So I think it would be good for us to take a look at this whole thing, maybe after the first year when the new commission is on board, and just get a handle on it. So if you're in agreement, Mayor.
Yeah, I think we do need to look at it as a whole. I'm not necessarily interested in being somebody's scheduler that at $10, $12 a pop on a certified letter that says, hey, you need to mow your lawn. I mean, there's responsibilities that you have to have. But I do think that we definitely need to look at it,
The whole thing.
beginning to end, and all those pieces and whether it's a workshop or the retreat or whatever. I think that's a good
That's right. Okay.
topic item. So.
Okay, good.
And there was nobody else signed up for Citizens Forum. So with that, we'll go around the horn. Commissioner,
I'm good.
you good?
No, sir.
No, sir.
I do have one thing, just to give you, the public, a heads up. The St. Mary's Catholic Church is going to be doing a public fireworks display on December 6th, starting at 7:30, be lasting about 10 minutes. It is going to be to celebrate the parish's feast, and they have sent me the application. There is no fee for a public display, but just want everybody to know, in case everybody's excited about the fact that the fireworks are going off. It's going to be an aerial display, 10 minutes tops.
Awesome.
No, sir.
Daniela?
I do have something. I wrote this down so I wouldn't forget to thank all my coworkers and my colleagues who've made it it a successful year and a successful, actually, last 2 years, because it has been a little bit of a roller coaster with transitions, but a good one, one that has made us look at our processes, just take a step back rather than just rubber stamping whatever was in front of us, and ask ourselves, should we be doing this? Is this the right thing to do? How can we do this better? So I'm grateful for your vote of confidence and for approving the extension of my contract. As a reminder to myself and to this commission and to our incoming commissioner, I want to remind you that my goal is simple, and it's to serve. It's to serve this commission. It's to serve our residents. It's to serve my team, because the decisions that are made in this room every other week shape our community. And anything I can do to make our community just a little more better is my intention, and that's why I'm here. I really feel like this is my calling, and I really appreciate the opportunity to serve. I also want to reassure you of my continued commitment to being a careful and thoughtful steward of public funds. The decisions that are made here go pretty quickly. We have our stuff together, we have a memo, we read off of it, there's some back and forth, and then you make a decision. But I want to remind everybody who's watching and everybody in this room that those conversations are weeks and months and meeting after meeting. I just told Ed earlier today, maybe we should meet on that, and he goes, okay, Daniela. We meet to death, we talk to death, we converse via email, via text, via phone call. So please know that there's a lot of work behind the scenes that happens. Every budget decision counts, and I know that we're committed to using our resources wisely, that we're constantly planning for the future, and that we honor the trust and respect the trust that our residents put in us, and we don't take it lightly. Most importantly, I want to thank and recognize the team that's sitting in front of me. They are an incredible group of dedicated public servants. I would not be here if it weren't for them. I truly wouldn't. They bring, and I calculated this morning, over 200 years of public service experience. 200 years. They work quietly behind the scenes to turn the commissions to shit. Some bring more than others. They work quietly behind the scenes to turn your direction into real day-to-day improvements to this community. And I just want to thank them. I'm proud of them, and I'm proud to work beside them. So thank you again.
Well said.
Thank you. I thought about this morning, and I first of all want to say I am thankful still for the opportunity to serve this community on this commission. I'm 10 years into this and very thankful that I still am here to serve. I appreciate being that representative between our citizens, our residents, and the city admin. And so I thought of you all this morning and just gave thanks for each one of you. Because I think we have done a real good job of working well together. And I have to say that these are probably some of the better years, at least in my tenure, than they were in the beginning. So I'm thankful. I appreciate all of you, and just wish not only all of you, but any of those listening, I hope you have a blessed Thanksgiving. There are many things for us to give thanks for. Just the fact that we can congregate in this room and make the wheels turn for this community is just a wonderful freedom and ability. And I'm thankful to the citizens who have put us here, and their trust is in us to make the very best decisions for this community. So thank you for all that you all do, and I appreciate all of you.
Wow. I got an opportunity last week to go down to visit Shield AI's headquarters and their test field. And in their conference room on the wall, it says, "Live as a servant leader." And I just thought that was a really great bond between our community and that organization. That's how we operate here, and that's how they operate down there. So that was pretty cool. Truly am thankful for the opportunity to continue to serve. I'm thankful for everybody here. The giving of your time and your talents does not go unnoticed. Yes, it's a job, but you wouldn't stay in it for those 200-plus years if it wasn't a calling. So, 205 maybe. Yeah, take a moment this week and count your blessings.
Amen.
So be thankful for your neighbors, your community, and where we live.
Amen.
With that, we are adjourned.
Amen.